Welcome. This video presents the process of analyzing a statement of work using mind mapping software. This is Jim Franklin of PM Mapping. Today's video, you're going to learn how you can use mind mapping to quickly analyze a statement of work and how you can incorporate the scope information into the mind map. Remember from the PowerPoint video, the SOW challenges include they're typically poorly written, they lack detail, many times they have too many references that you then need to research, the objectives may not be clear, and also there are constraints that will be kind of hidden throughout the statement of work. You also need to watch for multi-scope run-on sentences. I've seen where a sentence can contain 3 different scope deliverables. Some of the best practices when you're analyzing a statement of work is remember this is a team effort and the team must be familiar with the statement of work. Make certain that you get copies of the SOW to the team in advance and allow them time to review the statement of work. Review each sentence in detail and look out for the multi-scope run-on sentences. It's so critical to evaluate each sentence and understand the deliverables and the intent. Remember also the statement of work is going to have a combination of deliverables and requirements. References, make certain that you evaluate each reference in detail, understanding the requirements, and then also understanding if you need to add deliverables to the WBS. Collaboration, the key. It's a team effort. Get your team involved. That way you're able to get buy-in on the project once you start project execution. The process is to review the hard copy and highlight scope deliverables. Even though you have access to electronic, many times it works better to review the hard copy and then highlight the deliverables. You'll then open the MindView WBS template. I've included a link. You'll enter the second level WBS. Remember, this is when you have to make a decision. Is it going to be the project life cycle? Is it going to be product based? Remember my WBS presentation where I provided examples of each of those. You're then going to enter the scope deliverables into the mind map either by hard copy review and enter, or if you have the electronic copy, you'll copy and paste from electronic. Also, if you've already created the scope statement from the statement of work, you then have an option to copy and paste from the scope statement. You'll integrate the scope details. What I mean by this is you're going to copy and paste the content in the statement of work into the mind map. At this point, you can brainstorm and organize the content with the team. You'll review the mind map. You have an option to export into Excel or even into Word. And you can also add additional content via the text notes. This is the statement of work for the solar panel project. I've given you a link to this statement of work. Let's review this statement of work, at least a portion of it, and see some of the challenges that you have in reviewing a statement of work. The first sentence that I've highlighted is installation must be completed in 2015 to receive a federal tax credit. This is a constraint. So if you have time, you have cost, those are all constraints. The federal tax credit is key objective to receiving the credit. So you would identify in the scope statement this being a constraint. The next is a homeowners association approval requires approval signatures from 4 neighbors. So this tells you that this is a deliverable. You're going to have to get that approval. You're going to have to more than likely complete some type of application, but it also lets you know that you have to contact the association to get more detail. There's just not enough detail at this point. And then from 4 neighbors, you would have to again get the information regarding the approval process. What does the permit or what does the application require, and comply with the requirements of the HOA. The next example shows a City of San Diego permit is required. Now this is important because you're going to have to go to the San Diego website to determine what are the requirements. At this point, you do not have enough information to complete a WBS. You would have to obtain additional information, and that would be part of the decomposition process, part of the research process. Testing will be performed prior to final City of San Diego inspection. This is a constraint, so you want to make certain that you have an activity that testing will be performed first, and then the City of San Diego inspection would take place. The reason is you would never want the city to show up and inspect the solar panels and you haven't confirmed that the solar panels are operational. If they visited the site and inspected, it did not operate properly, you've just wasted your time, their time, and maybe there could be a 1-month delay before they're back on site. Solar panel contractors shall comply with all local, state, and federal regulations. This is one of those catch-all statements that you always have to be careful. You need to make certain on projects that you understand the local, state, and federal regulations and how they apply to your project, because many times what you'll find is that if there is an issue on the project, the customer or the contracts department can point to this sentence and say, well, you were supposed to comply with regulations and you did not. So critical that you have subject matter experts understand what the requirements are and they provide input and determine if this would add deliverables or requirements to the scope statement. This is the last example of the statement of work. Work cannot be performed during the weekend or during inclement weather. This is a constraint. So let's say you get behind schedule and you had planned on using the weekend as an option to catch up, you would not be able to do that. You would also need to recognize what time of year you're performing the work. What is the probability of rain during the construction period, and make a decision on whether or not you need to include any type of additional days. Let's now see how we can incorporate the statement of work into the mind map. For convenience, I've already included the deliverables in bullet form. Remember that this could be a brainstorming session that you could have on a whiteboard based on the review of a statement of work. You could also have already incorporated this information into the scope statement. In this example, and what I've typically done is I'll review the statement of work and copy and paste directly into the mind map as I'm reviewing the statement of work. So the first step is to highlight and then copy the deliverables that are in the statement of work. The next step is to paste into the mind map. At this point, I've only pasted to project management. The next step is to drag and drop the deliverables into the appropriate level 2. Let's go ahead and start that process now. Site survey and assessment, that's a pre-construction activity. Permits, pre-construction. Design package, pre-construction. SDG&E metering agreement, pre-construction. Construction certification report, that would be a post-construction. Operations and maintenance manual would also be a post-construction. Solar panel website, that completed during post-construction. Product data sheet, pre-construction. Microinverters data sheet, pre-construction. Stellar Solar contract, I'm going to leave that in project management. Solar panels, this is the installation of the solar panels that will go into construction. Electrical system. Racking system. Microinverters. In-phase monitor. Inspection. At this point, I could add another level 2, but I'm going to go ahead and just place this or drag and drop into construction. SDG&E inspection is also construction. Solar panel system testing. You can see how easy it was to copy from the statement of work and then paste into the mind map and drag and drop into the appropriate level 2. The next step is to copy and paste the description, the requirements for each one of the deliverables from the statement of work into the mind map. Let's look at a couple of examples. I've highlighted the racking system. In this example, I'm going to copy and paste from the statement of work into the mind map. I'm going to use the text editor. So if I select Insert, Text Note, and paste. Very simple process to copy from the statement of work into the mind map. Let's look at another example. Let's copy the electrical system scope description and paste into the mind map. I select electrical system and then I can go ahead and copy and paste from the statement of work into the mind map. I have the option to go ahead and format. So remember there was some bullet format in the statement of work. I can also incorporate the bullet format into the mind map. The next step is to reorder the deliverables. Remember, this mind map is a mind map representation of the statement of work. We have not focused yet on the decomposition process. I'm just trying to create a mind map of the SOW. It is nice to reorder based on the overall sequence of deliverables from the standpoint of when they would be created. But again, do not focus of scheduling. It's just strictly to reorder, just so you understand the top, bottom, left to right. Let's look at some examples right now. The site survey and assessment, that would take place first. I would have to complete the design package before I submit the permit. More than likely, a permit application would require the design package. The SDG&E agreement can follow the permits. The two solar panel data sheets and in-phase microinverter data sheets, these are not going to be standalone deliverables. I'm going to go ahead and incorporate those as part of the design package and then collapse. Remember that you would still have to research the references. They may be codes, specifications, etc., and make certain that you identify if they're deliverables, and then you would enter those in the appropriate level 2, either pre-construction, construction, or post-construction. I recommend that you review the SOW a number of times. After you've completed the mind map, review one more time and verify that you've identified all of the deliverables, identifying the multi-scope type sentences, and also, again, focusing on the references. This is just a starting point of creating the WBS after you analyze the statement of work. You would also have created the requirements matrix, you have the scope statement, and then you're also creating the WBS. This video provided best practices to analyze a statement of work. Thank you for listening. Let me know if you have any questions. Please send me an email. Have a great day. Thank you so much.